back at one of my favorite places, Island Fishing Tackle in the beautiful city of Carson, California, with Sam de la Torre. And Sam, you got a great tip for us. What is it?
Yeah, it's kind of more of a maintenance thing this time. Not really a fishing thing specifically, but I will say with what we got going on coming up next weekend, the jig fishing deal, with jig rods, the handle is something that I see a lot of times when I go fishing. I'll see guys that have a nice, beautiful rod, and they have an old handle. And what I mean by that, with the cork tape, that's real common that we use. I actually prefer cork tape. It does dry out over a few years, Some of these guys seems like, man, they never change like in 10 years. It's real hard, and it's just not very comfortable. And I think with any kind of activity where you have a lot of body motion, having items that have good grip, like let's say changing your grip on a golf club or tennis racket, I'm pretty sure that's for the same reason.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Better control.
Yeah.
So adding that to your rod or refreshing it is something that's really easy to do. It's not really something that I think anybody that has to have any kind of special rod building equipment or even any kind of extensive rod building knowledge. It's so easy to do
that even I could do it.
Phil could do it.
Yeah, I don't know. They're pushing it now, Sam.
So what we wanted to do today is kind of show you guys how to do a few little things. Obviously, there's some way more advanced things that you can do with handles and rod building, but we're just talking about getting the jig stick ready for the season. And it's something that I do myself. If it's my favorite rod that I use a lot, I change it out every year, which seems excessive, but when you put a brand new handle on a rod, it's like having a brand new rod. And I don't see if you have a nice custom rod why you wouldn't do that. So
yeah, 100%.
Today here, Freddy, he's a great rod builder, Southern California. He's been coming up really quick here in the ranks. The last couple of years, he's been building a lot of beautiful rods, and he's got this down so quick. We're going to be able to really show this how to do it. So, Freddy, hand it off to you, man.
Freddy Magana, welcome, my friend.
Well, like Sam said, a lot of these rods that we have on the boats nowadays, they look just like this one. I mean, it is falling apart. It is dried out. I mean, it looks bad, And this is even a good example of one. It was someone's custom rod, and the handle's seen better days. So it's something very simple that you don't need any special tools. A razor blade and a lighter is about as much as you need. Sam here at the store has a lot of the things you would actually need to buy to replace them. Cork. If you're just going to go with a cork handle, that's very, very fairly inexpensive. A new butt cap, and that's about it. And maybe a piece of heat shrink just to terminate it. And that's about as many supplies you need. You're probably spending under $20 to get this done.
Oh my God! This is great.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a $500 rod.
Yeah.
The rod look nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's something most of the local tackle stores will be able to do. And but if it's something you're a do-it-yourselfer and just it's the season starting off already, and it's something you can do in 30 minutes or less. Doesn't take a lot of time, a lot of effort, but we'll get into it. Pretty much we'll start with a rod like this. Perfect example. Get a razor blade. You cut off your cork your Turk set if you do have one. And usually they come off pretty simple, as you can see. This one came right off. Very simple. Remove your butt cap. Usually your butt caps are glued down. If they don't come off pretty loose, usually you can get something soft like a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, and just stick it in there and just break that glue on the butt cap, and that'll get your butt cap loose. And usually you're gonna ruin the butt cap, so that's why you're gonna buy a new one. These things are $3, and they're definitely something you need on your rod. Butt cap comes off, and just like this, usually the cork tape just comes right off. Fairly simple.
Oh my God, I think I actually can do this.
And we're actually pretty lucky on this one. This one, it is coming off super simple.
Yeah, sometimes they'll come off in like chunks.
Yeah.
If the cork tape was maybe of a lower quality. But I would say 80%, 90% of the time it'll come off just like that. Real easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean.
You usually just get it all off. And as you can see with this rod, you have a little residue, and that's usually from the cork tape, the glue that's on the backing of the cork tape. Usually you want to remove this stuff because you want the new cork tape to adhere to something clean. And it's fairly simple to remove this stuff. Just get a razor blade, and you're pretty much just scraping the stuff off. You want to do this very lightly because you don't want to nick the blank, you don't want to grab the graphite and damage your rod potentially. So just carefully back and forth motion, this stuff should come right off. Get it all off. Usually you would end up with something like this, where it's nice and clean, back to what the blank is, and just clean it off with some alcohol, some rubbing alcohol. If you have hand sanitizer, I mean, everyone has that stuff in their house nowadays. And just wipe it down, get a nice clean surface, and you can get your cork tape and get going pretty much. Usually when you're doing cork tape, the way to start it the best is to cut it at an angle to give it pretty much a point to start at the bottom of the rod. So usually we cut it at an angle here. Get going. Cut that at an angle, and obviously with our butt cap, we start. First, actually, we should put a butt cap on. So our butt cap, usually you want to fit these butt caps straight to the blank, or if they don't fit, you can arbor them up. And all that is just masking tape. We're building it up so that the butt cap can fit a little better.
So as you can see right here, it's on there. It's kind of tight, but he's gonna basically just build this up a little bit so that it's nice and tight when you put it on. You see that there?
And you want that thing to just be snug. Eventually, once we're done with the handle, you'll be 5-minute epoxying this. If you have 5-minute, is usually that will hold it for the lifetime of the rod or the lifetime of the handle.
And if you're not near a tackle shop, like if you can't get here, or it's like Sunday afternoon before your trip, and you go down to like a Home Depot or whatever, they have like that JB Weld, the clear epoxy. That'll work fine too. It's just for that. It's not going to show anywhere. You don't have to worry about it turning colors or nothing. Any kind of 2-part epoxy will work.
Yeah. Once you get your butt cap on, you cut your cork tape at an angle, and you just go for it. Usually I like going in a clockwise direction. It seems just more comfortable for me to do.
This is where I would screw it up a little bit. But
and it's pretty.
It seems like it would be difficult, and I know
Freddy's a
very
pro, yeah.
experienced, so he's making it look easy. But I will say it is very easy. This is, as far as rod building. I mean, before I started building rods when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I would change my handles. Back then, everything had cork tape. When I was going, even a 7-foot rod had cork tape. I didn't have real seats back then, and so this is something I just did every year, every season. Just changed my handles. It wasn't really something I thought of as it being hard or easy. Just a maintenance thing.
Yeah, and it makes such a difference. Well, you know what they say about how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice,
yeah.
right? So with a little practice, you'll get this down, right?
Yeah. It's not that hard at all. And if you guys have a little bit of concern over how to do it, and you bring your rod down once you got it ready to go, come down and buy the cork tape. We'll help you get it started. I know most guys want to know how to do it. They would prefer doing it themselves, but maybe they don't want to screw up something and have it something that's not installed right. But we'll give you a little 10-minute deal here at the shop.
That's
show
great.
You how to do it. It's really not that hard. So you bring one rod, and then that way you go back and you do all the rest of your rods if you have more than one.
And God, cosmetically, just looking at it right now, I mean, night and day.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is what came off of it right here.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not that this is not fishable. I mean, you could go fish this.
Sure.
But like I said, just like putting a new handle on your golf club, this is going to feel so much better, and it's just going to feel better. I mean, this is something this is a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to have nice equipment that looks good and feels good. And this is one thing that'll do that.
And for $20, Sam.
And it's for nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it changes the whole rod. For me, I always tell people, I feel like I have a brand new rod when I put a new handle on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freddie, that's a pretty easy process, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably taking me less than 2 minutes to get it done.
It's amazing. It looks so nice.
And this will last you, this cork tape will last you another season or 2 seasons, Just depending on how you take care of it.
30 seasons.
Yeah. Exactly.
So once we get to the end here, as you guys can tell, the rod is pretty much almost done. I mean, that took no effort, and it's super easy. Once you get to an end here, usually you want to, you don't want to just keep rolling it, obviously. Break off your cork tape.
It just tears, yeah.
It just tears right off, and we just get your scissors and just cut a nice little edge on there. What we're going to be doing after is adding a little piece of heat shrink And all that is to kind of terminate it so that the cork tape doesn't come undone. It also helps so it seals it so water doesn't intrude and get under the backing of the cork tape to make it fail potentially. And all you're doing here is just cutting an edge to it. It's fairly simple.
Another thing you could do as well is you'll wrap it all the way up and you'll lay some tape over it, and then you can kind of cut over the tape to make a straight line. We'll show that in some of the close-up videos, another way to do it too. This way here is really easy if you're good at kind of like cutting straight.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it right
Man,
there.
that is beautiful.
And that's it. That's your handle.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So now what we're going to do is just cut a few pieces of this heat shrink and add it to the ends. And that, like I said, that's just going to help seal it off from the water and allowing so the cork tape doesn't fail. So,
yeah, that looks so nice.
So we're just going to add 2 pieces of this stuff. And this is heat shrink, once again, guys. You can buy it here at Sam's shop. Most of your tackle stores out there are going to have this stuff in stock. It's something that we use a lot. So once again, we'll add 2 pieces to it. And like I said, all you need is a lighter, a heat gun to get the stuff going. And all you do is...
But a lighter will do, huh?
Yeah, the lighter will do.
Perfect, Freddy.
And as you can see, the stuff...
Yeah.
We'll just heat down. We'll shrink down. Obviously, don't hold the lighter to the heat shrink because it will burn. So just kind of spin the rod in your hand and lightly just heat it up, and it will go down. You can even use your barbecue lighter.
No, perfect, man. That's awesome.
There it goes. There's your top half, and we'll start doing the bottom half.
That looks amazing, Freddy. And you have really done, an outstanding job of explaining this, because it really does seem simple. And I'm a guy that, I have trouble like figuring out how to put gas in my car. So if you made it simple for me, it's really, really good. Incidentally, everybody, if you hear some squeaking in the background, Freddy is a dog lover, and he would not put his dog in the car. So I salute you for that, Freddy. I just want people to know we don't have somebody tied up here or something.
And there you go, guys. Once that stuff heats down, you just 5-minute your butt cap on there, and she's ready to go. You can also trim this a little bit, kind of so it's not as big with the razor blade, just to clean that up a little bit. But that handle is ready to go fishing. There's a few other things you can do. This is kind of just like the base of most of our handles that we have here in Southern California. Traditional deckhand handle starts off usually with a cork tape base. There's other handles that can be made as well that you can add on top of that. And a lot of guys, very popular handle is a cord handle. And that usually something like this with a Turk's head, Atwood rope, or seine twine with a butt cap. Very simple as well. Extra step, to add the cord on top, but still very simple to do as another add-on to your cork tape on top.
And depending on the rod diameter, if it's a larger rod diameter, this might go right onto the blank too.
Oh, okay.
So you don't even need any cork tape underneath. The only thing you have to account for sometimes is that because the blank is slippery and so is the cord, it'll want to shift on you if you don't put it on there real tight. Or one of the things you can do is put some type of not a double stick tape, but it's called a friction tape. You can put that underneath, and so it won't show. The same thing as like hockey tape. Same kind of deal you would put underneath there, and then that'll keep it from shifting around. So, but same thing, really easy to do. You want to wind it down there tight, so you got to have, like one of the things we were talking about. One of the things you could do is you could actually run the cord around your feet, and we'll show you how to do that, or have someone put a little bit of tension on the cord as you're putting it on to make sure it's on there tight.
Yeah. Another example of a handle that you could do on your deckhand or on your jig sticks is also fairly simple, and this just requires heat shrink. Mm-hmm. And this pretty much the same stuff I put on the ends of the cork tape handle. This just goes over cork tape, and you just heat it on. Same thing, heat it on, and it goes on beautifully. It gives you a beautiful handle. They do make this stuff with X pattern and without X pattern, which we call a no flock heat shrink. And this stuff is really slick, especially the no flock. The no flock, surprisingly, scales don't stick to it. And that's, I think, a big problem we have with our rods is that we're always picking scales off of the damn rods, and it's kind of annoying. And that's the beauty of the heat shrink with the no flock, is that you don't get scale to stick to it. So
with something like this, if you have like a nice high power like hair dryer, or even better, a heat gun, it'll make this easier because it's just a longer stretch. But it'll still work. I mean, I know some guys will put it over like their stove under low heat. You just want to have good even heat around. It makes it a little easier to have it shrink down, you know, because it's such a large piece.
And some more, a little bit more advanced handles. So something we see on like a lot of the UC jig sticks is pretty much still a cork handle, but they incorporate the cord on it, and it kind of gives it a decorative feel, a decorative look to it. Just something different, you know. It's the beauty of custom rods is that you make the rod your own rod, and it gives it your own personality to the rod, because at the end of the day, it's a tool that you're going to be fishing, and you kind of want it to look good.
And this is also one of those things that looks like it would be complicated, but it's so easy to do. And if you guys have questions on how to do that, we can show you how to do that too.
Yeah.
It's actually really simple, and it's just a decorative aspect. Doesn't really add to any kind of fishing performance or nothing like that.
And another thing that you can add to terminate the ends of any of these deckhand handles is a Turk's head. You know, and this is probably the most intimidating part of a handle is you look at these little knots and you're like, man, how do they put those on there? It just looks so complicated, but it's fairly simple. And like Sam said, you're welcome to stop by the shop, and we can sit down and explain these to you and go through them, and so you can understand how to put them on a rod. They do look intimidating, but once you get them down, they're fairly simple to do.
For the new big tuna fishing,
Yeah.
we always talk about rail rods.
Yes.
Well, you don't have to rebuild your whole rod to do that. You know, they have this stuff called cold shrink. We sell that here as well, and you can get that. It's actually an electrical product. It's an insulation product. And here, like, this is one of my rods here. I personally like the Hypalon, but let's just say I got on a trip and lucky enough to hook a whole bunch of big fish, and maybe I had some damage caused to the Hypalon, or maybe I just want something that is a more harder material up at the top here, and you want to put it kind of more towards the top, because that's where you're going to be laying it on the rod. This stuff here called culture, you don't need any special adhesive. You can put it right onto your Hypalon.
Yeah.
So if you have a rod already that's a heavy duty rod that you're going to fish big tuna with, and you wanted to add a layer of protection to it, we're going to show you how to do that. This is another one too that seems like it'd be hard, but we'll show you here like
very
in just a
simple
minute how to do it.
Yeah, this stuff's made by Bill Batson Enterprises. He sells this stuff. He sells it in 12-inch pieces, and he sells it in 18-inch pieces to accommodate whatever handle you want to do. Like Sam said, on a rod like this is a 16-inch foregrip. We don't need a big 18-inch piece. So it's one of those things that you can get away with the little 12-inch piece, and it's fairly simple to do. This stuff has it usually is marked with a pull direction, and it has an arrow to it. So usually you slip the stuff on in the opposite of your pull direction, and it goes on that easy over your reel seat, over your butt cap. You can even sometimes go over the guides, but usually the size 25 guide doesn't allow that, so you usually go up from the butt. And it's fairly simple that I can even do it myself. You get your handle, and you just spin this stuff on.
Wow.
And it's easier with two people, but you can do it by yourself.
All right, so we stopped the video earlier just to be able to show a close-up of a certain part of this that's not that it's difficult, but I want to make sure that people are clear on it, is that when you start putting this on and you start pulling out the
Plastic.
The plastic here that's holding it up, it's going to start collapsing. Once you get about this much on, it's pretty much going to be where it's going to be. You're not really going to be able to move it past this. So it's really important that you position it exactly where you want it to end up at top. Because once you get it going, you're not going to be able to move it. So I really wanted to show that. And if you just kind of throw it on right at the very front of the Hypalon, that's usually the best place. And then you'll be good. So now we'll go ahead and show the rest of how it's coming undone. You basically just spin the rod, and the other guy's just going to be pulling the core out of it.
Yeah, all you're going to be doing is pulling the cord out, or this plastic inside, and it's pretty much going to shrink down onto your handle as you pull it out. And once again, this handle is great because it allows you to protect your rod especially with this big bluefin rod fishing that we're doing. This helps protect the rod so it doesn't get damaged or it doesn't fail. And that's a big thing that with these rails, it's hardwood and these are graphite rods, so there's something that's going to fail. So this is just an added protection to your rod.
Sam, we know where to find you here at Island Fishing Tackle in the beautiful city of Carson, California. Freddie, I'm too busy. I don't have time to do this. Is there a way to have you do a rod for me?
Yeah, if it's something that you're like, I don't have time to do this, you're welcome to hit me up. My name is Freddy Magana. My Instagram is at C_Sicario, and I do this for a living on a daily basis. My phone number is 408-242-3350. I live in Menifee, but I'm always in the shop. You probably see me here once or twice or even 3 times a week at Sam's shop. And yeah, any rod building needs you need, from a handle replacement to a full custom, I can take care of you. And I partner with Sam, and we're well equipped here. We have tons of blanks, all the guides, all the reel seeds. You could walk in here and walk out with everything you need to build your next dream rod. And that's not a problem at all.
Sam, Freddie, what a great presentation. Thank you, guys.
Got it.
Appreciate it.